Hey, so setting up your net sheet. If you're not using a net sheet, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your clients. This sheet's going to eliminate so many objections for you just having it. This is a vital part of what I typically send over to clients and go over in the listing appointment. This is so your client can actually visually see exactly what they're going to put in their pocket before their mortgage is paid off. No matter what people tell you, they roughly know what their mortgage balance is, but we don't know. They usually have an idea in their mind what we need, and that's okay, or what they need, and that's okay. We're just giving them an idea of what they will get after real estate commissions, attorney fees, title company fees, and other common charges come out of the gross sales price. Oftentimes, property sellers have these crazy ideas about what it's going to cost them to use an agent, and the net sheet just lays it all out and it shows them exactly what it is. My net sheet, you can look in the package, you'll have an example of it. I do 3 columns with the price I want to list their home in the middle. Each column will be a different price. Usually on the left, the first column is the low column. Column 2 is where I want them to price it. Column 3 is usually the high end of what I think their property will sell for. You should have an idea of what the dollar amount is your client wants to walk away from in the sale. You should have asked that in the initial script before you set the appointment. If it's reasonable or low, I try to make sure the net amount in at least one of the columns equals what they're looking to put in their pocket if possible. If the price they're needing is way more than what the market will bring, you probably shouldn't be going on the appointment. You probably should just call them and say, hey, Mr. Seller, you're wanting $150,000 for your house. I'm only seeing where it's worth $100,000. I don't want to waste anybody's time. And people do appreciate that. Different markets now have different fees. These are your typical fees. You're planning and preparing them for a smooth closing. If they have title issues or problems that is not typical in closings, the attorneys might charge more, but don't worry about that. For the purpose of your net sheet, you're assuming this is a typical transaction with no issues. In my market, I include in each column, I include the sales price, what I think the property is sell for, attorney or title company fees. South Carolina is an attorney state, so I have attorney fees. You should have your go-to attorney or title company that you work with. Typically, they charge the same fee for a seller no matter what the size of the transaction. Locally, the attorney I work with charges $350 for seller transactions. In my net sheet, I usually put $400 in this block. Everyone's happy when things turn out that it's a little bit cheaper. You should have, number 3, you should have the transfer tax. In our market, we call them deed stamps. They're about $3.75 per thousand. Every market seems to have some kind of version of this. Break it down and make it simple as you can. In our market, there's a math formula that's 5 miles long. There's no need to go into that formula. With your clients, set it up in your spreadsheet so you get an estimate. I typically recommend an estimate on the high end. Nobody complains if things turn out to be cheaper. The 4th thing I include is administration or courier fees. It never fails. It seems like every closing I do, there's an overnight FedEx fee. There's some sort of $50 fee that an attorney adds for your courier or something. I just go ahead and include that in the net sheet. There again, if it turns out that that fee isn't being charged to them, everybody's happy when they put a little more money in their pocket. Number 5, always include the commission rate. I always include what I charge. Everybody seems to charge a little bit different. It's up to you, but whatever your commission rate is, make sure you put the rate in there. Don't put a discounted rate. Number 6, in our market, the seller typically pays for a termite inspection. It's only about $80 to $100. In other markets, you might have other things. Number 7, the last thing that I put in there is I put a miscellaneous column. I always put $1,000 miscellaneous in the spreadsheet. This is for one big reason. It gives you a little bit of cushion. Sometimes, the buyers are asking for a home warranty. Sometimes they're asking for repairs. Sometimes there's things that you just don't know about, like some mortgage companies charge a fee for a mortgage satisfaction letter. some HOAs charge a transfer fee. I always mention this $1,000 is just for things that we might not know about, or just gives us a little bit of cushion. Like I said, everybody's always happy when they walk away with a little bit more money. During the listing appointment, I go through the items on the net sheet. I don't go into a lot of detail, but I point out everything that is a normal cost of doing business and selling a property. When putting together your net sheet, you need to make sure it's as simple as you possibly can make it, like so that anybody can understand it. I see some of these net sheets and other training programs that are just way over the top. They're way too complicated. They have too many items and too many things that are variables that never seem to happen. Those are fine if you want to use them for your personal use, but this needs to be as simple as possible. Remember, most of these people, they bought the house. This may be the first house they're selling. You know, the average person only buys and sells a few houses in their lifetime. They're not like us. Most people that you're going to meet, they've never sold a home. Even the most experienced sellers we typically run into going through the home selling process haven't sold but maybe a few homes their entire life. We forget that some days. A lot of us just breathe real estate. Your average client isn't like this at all. Remember, this is one of their first transactions, if not their first. Plus, you don't want something very elaborate that creates a lot of work for you. Every time you have to do one, you want it to be as simple as possible and the fees to be as standard as possible with the vendors that you're using.